Satisfying part of my job is when I know that I've done the right thing for the customer, taking care of the customer's happy, and when I walk out the door that I'm not afraid to put a sign out in front of their house that says, "This job was done by Chuck Thompson, Classic Plumbing and Air."
Visit them at classicplum.com.
It's halftime of the big sale. We have Dick Van Dyke, Appliance World coach Paul Rican here. Paul, what's the game plan?
It's just like I was telling my team, these prices are low, but they just aren't low enough.
Well, Paul, what do you do?
We have a top-of-the-line Electrolux laundry pair. I'm going with a free pedestal on the pair, free delivery and installation, and this hurts, but I'm going to throw in an additional $100 off.
No way.
That's over $600 off the whole pair.
Thanks, Paul.
Team, get to the locker room. We have to talk about what I just promised this radio guy.
And there you have it from Dick Van Dyke, Appliance World, where you always get a
wow.
Winter's finally over. Time to thaw out and enjoy the sunshine. But is your yard ready? Huh? 2 Minute Junk Truck can help you ditch the clutter and create the perfect outdoor oasis. From old patio furniture to forgotten fire pits, 2 Minute Junk Truck will haul it all away. Get ready for cookouts, parties, or just chilling with a good book. Make space for what matters most. Visit 2minutejuncktruck.com today. Use code RADIO25 to save $25 on your next service.
The Cardinals managed only one win on this road trip, and that was last night against Paul Skeens. Couldn't really get anything going against Mitch Keller at all, but they had a chance to get more than one run when the Cardinals took the lead in the 12th, and that got away when Arenado was caught off third on a slow roller to Key Brian Hayes, and Arenado got caught in between. Do I go? Do I get back? And by that time, he was out.
Yeah, and the Cardinals, of course, missed a runner at home plate, too. Michael Ciani getting thrown out late. And so they had some opportunities, not a lot of them in the first 9 innings of the game, that's for sure, as the pitching was really good for Keller and Fedde both. And, you know, it was just a game where, you know, who's going to blink first? And the Cardinals, well, they blinked in extras, but not as bad as we've seen them blink in extra innings before. The Cardinals dropped to 0-4 in extra innings. The pitching has not been good in extra innings, but the Cardinals got some good work out of JoJo Romero, actually Ryan Fernandez before him, and JoJo and Helsley and Matz in extra innings. They just, unfortunately, couldn't close the door. Tommy Pham's hit really is a key moment for me because it tied the game, but the Cardinals were within 1 out of winning the game. All they needed to do was get Tommy out. Didn't happen.
And 2 unearned runs beat the Cardinals today. The final score, though, 2-1. Those runs count. In the extra inning ball game, as Ricky told you, the Cardinals dropped to 0-4 in one-run games. They're 0-3. And on the road, 1 win and 5 losses. Thank goodness we're coming home, but facing a very good Philadelphia team Friday night.
Yeah, they're going to be facing some good talent, not only there, but Houston, who we saw a lot in spring training, and then a tough road trip, too. So, you know, it gets tougher, but I think there were some good things to say about this game in terms of what the Cardinals' pitching was today. I think they all pitched pretty well. Chris Roycroft obviously struggling with his command in the 13th, and he picks up the loss, but everybody before him, I would say, pitched very well.
The final 2-1 in 13 innings for the Pirates. Our play of the game is presented by Marriott St. Louis Grand. Book your Grand Slam Cardinals ticket package. Do that right now. We'll hear the play when we come back.
When the storm rolls in, where will you go? Don't wait until it's too late. Protect your family with a custom storm shelter from Berg Septic and Storm Shelter Services. At Berg Tanks, their shelters are fiberglass and plate steel safe rooms that can be installed in your garage or exterior, in ground, or on a concrete pad. Built to withstand the toughest storms, giving you a safe, secure place when you need it most. Whether you need a compact unit for a small space or a larger shelter for the whole family, they've got you covered. Their expert team handles everything from excavation to installation so you can have peace of mind before the next storm strikes. Berg Septic also specializes in septic pumping, new system installation, grease trap cleanings, repairs, and maintenance plans to keep your home running smoothly. Call Berg Septic and Storm Shelter Services today at 217-367-8632 or visit them online at bergtanksinc.com. That's BERGtanksinc.com.
Drive in, drive out. Recycling's what Max is all about. You can make some cash and do your share. We make it really simple because we care. It doesn't matter large or small. Our friendly staff will handle it all. Starting it over is what we do at Max Twin City Recycling.
Your number one sports bar and grill is Pia's. Head to 1609 West Springfield Avenue to watch all your favorite sports teams play on the big screen TVs as you enjoy great drink specials and the famous 10-ounce Slugger Burger. With the slot machines, darts, video, golf, and outdoor beer garden, meet your friends at Pia's. Since 1975, open mornings at 7 a.m., Sundays at 8. See you at Pia's.
Mitch Keller started for the Pirates today, 7 1/3, no-run innings with 4 hits, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. Eric Fetty, he went 6 innings, no hits. He walked 4, struck out 2, but was aided by some double plays. So the starters were both very good.
Not only were the starters good, but most of the Cardinals relievers were good. You think about the work of Maton Leahy, Romero, just really good work to escape some tough situations. It's hard to pitch on the road, in my mind, in extra innings because of the rule. You got a guy in scoring position already. A lot of things can happen, but the Cardinals pitched pretty well.
The Cardinals were able to get 1 run, and they had a chance to get 2, and that's the sad thing about today. But the Cardinals were able to take a lead on pinch hitter Jordan Walker's base hit, and that plated Wilson Contreras, the designated runner, in the 12th inning. It also sent Arenado to third because McCutchen didn't think Arenado would go first to third. He did. But a ground ball by Pedro Pages, it went right to the third baseman, and Ke'Bryan Hayes, he was able to pick it up. Arenado caught in between, do I go or do I go back? Was tagged out.
Yeah, that was only the second out of the inning anyway, so it really didn't, I would say, change things too much in that inning in my mind. But, the Cardinals, again, the fact that it was a ground ball in the infield for Pages, who was trying to get the ball into the outfield. You talked about how good he was at getting sacrifice flies last season, and, that was his plan, obviously, but, sometimes the pitcher forces you away from your plan, got him to hit the ball on the ground, and they didn't get to add on there.
Well, Helsley had worked the 11th inning and was able to get some help from Lars Nootbaar, who threw Alexander Canario out at the plate on a hit by Joey Bart. Canario got a late break from second, and Nootbaar threw him out. He went sliding past the plate, and Pages stayed with him and tagged him. So the Cardinals were able to move on, and they were able to score in the 12th inning, only to have Pittsburgh come back to tie it up with 2 outs. Tommy Pham singled off Steven Matz, scoring Ke'Bryan Hayes, and we moved on to the 13th inning. The Cardinals did not score. They couldn't move Victor Scott II off second base. And then Chris Roycroft came in, taking over for Matz. Roycroft, with Kiner Falefa, the designated runner at second, walked Alexander Canario. He walked Brian Reynolds. And then Roycroft got a force play ground ball by McCutchen to the shortstop Wynn, who came home. They got the out at the plate, had a chance at a double play at third.
Yeah, they did, and I'll be interested what they say about that, how the communication was going on down on the field. That would be a crazy, unusual play to have a double play, 6 to 2 to 5, but Arenado was covering the bag and calling for the ball, but normally the catcher's going to think, catch the ball, throw to first to try to get a double play in that situation. Really a good play by Wynn, but because the ball looked like it might be caught in the air, Canario didn't get a good read, and for some reason that wasn't picked up, and I would say a double play could have been a potential there.
He had late breaks both times he was on base at second, but he made it to third, and with Joey Bart at the plate, here's the play of the game presented by Marriott St. Louis Grand. From the stretch, the bases are loaded. The 3-2 pitch with 1 out, a swing, and a high fly ball left field. And that is over Nootbaar's head, and Nootbaar can't catch it. The ball hits the track. Here comes Canario. The Pirates win 2-1. And that's it. In 13 innings, the Pirates over the Cardinals 2-1, and the Cardinals lost 2 out of 3 in Pittsburgh after being swept in Boston.
Well, hard to feel good about a loss. In fact, you never feel good about a loss because that's what you're out there trying to do, win every single day. I would say I like some of the signs, let's put it that way, about the Cardinal pitching staff, and the pitching has been beat up a lot on this road trip, but not today. A couple of unearned runs, that's it, in 13 innings of work, and I would say very good work from not only Fetty, but the guys behind him, and I would say something to build on.
The Cardinals dropped this one. They're off tomorrow, and will play the Phillies over the weekend. And the Cardinals have to face Aaron Nola, but he's off to an 0-2 start.
0-2, and he can be really tough. He's got that nasty sinker, and really one of the National League's best when he's good, but has been off a bit in the early going.
And it's Andre Palante, 1-0 for the Cardinals, on the air at 6:20 Friday night, 7:05. Ricky has the lineups. I'll bring you the first pitch around 7:15. We hope you'll join us. Thanks to our producer-engineer here in Pittsburgh, Ryan Schulte, to Matt Pajeski and James O'Sullivan in the studio. Tom Ackerman had our pregame show. Matt Pauley's coming up with a postgame show after the Pirates beat the Cardinals in 13, 2-1. For Ricky Horton, I'm John Rooney. So long from Pittsburgh. St. Louis Cardinals baseball has been brought to you by Budweiser, official beer sponsor of Major League Baseball. Crack open the game with Budweiser and enjoy unrivaled flavor and refreshment. By your quality Ford dealers, the official vehicles of the St. Louis Cardinals. By Schnucks. Earn 2% back on every purchase with the Schnucks Rewards app. By Shelter Insurance. Find an agent near you at shelterinsurance.com to help you choose the coverage that fits just right for your auto, home, and life insurance. By Explore St. Louis. Learn all about the great things to do in St. Louis. Visit ExploreSt.Louis.com. By Central Bank, the hometown bank of the St. Louis Cardinals. And by the Painting and Decorating Foundation. This is the St. Louis Cardinals Radio Network, powered by Graybar.
That's a tough way to lose a ball game. That's a tough way to lose a series, but that's the way it goes down today. Cardinals lose in Pittsburgh to the Pirates 2-1, and the Pirates take 2 out of 3 in this 3-game series. Man, the Cardinals had opportunities in this game, especially late in the game and in extra innings, and unfortunately they're only able to push across 1 run. They end up giving up 2. You give credit to the pitching. Eric Fetty was really, really good. The bullpen, for the most part, was really, really good. But the Cardinals, as good as they've been offensively this year, they just weren't today, and they made some mistakes, and there were some moves there was just a lot going on, and the Cardinals end up losing to the Pirates by a 2-1 score. We do welcome you in. This is the Mercy Cardinals postgame show across the Cardinals Radio Network. Lots of twists and turns to this one. We'll go through it with the highlights in just a moment here on the Cardinals Radio Network, powered by Graybar.
This is David Eckstein inviting you to join me for a conversation at Busch Stadium on Friday, April 25th when we take on the Brewers. With Cardinals Conversations presented by Edward Jones, you'll get a ticket to the game. You'll join me for a pregame conversation with a Cardinals broadcaster and receive a custom, individually numbered and authenticated pre-signed photo. To top things off, join me for a photo with the 2006 World Series trophy. Come to the ballpark and join the conversation. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/conversations.
Lowe's is the destination for Ego outdoor power equipment this spring. See what's new and exclusive, like the 17-inch string trimmer with Line IQ technology that auto-feeds to save you time, and the 22-inch Select Cut self-propelled mowers with a multi-blade system for precise cutting. Shop Ego Days, happening now during Spring Fest at Lowe's. We help, you save. Selection varies by location while supplies last.
You have money laying all around your house. You just don't know it. And no, I don't mean selling your great-grandma's good china. I mean all the old metal items you don't want to use or get rid of. Don't pay someone to haul it away. Bring it into Max Twin City Recycling and get paid to have it taken off your hands. They love new customers and are more than willing to walk you through their process step by step. Come check them out at 2808 North Lincoln Avenue in Urbana.
Starting it over is what we do at Max Twin City Recycling.
Hi, this is Les Hovland with Philo Exchange Bank. At our banks, we know the hearts of our communities beat with the rhythm of agriculture. Ag lending continues to be something we've excelled at for over 140 years. To you, the farmer, your business has been built on trusted relationships. When it comes to your banking relationship, we want to be your trusted partner.
Philo Exchange Bank, hometown community banking since 1883. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Hi, I'm Tyler Weaver, president of Carpet Weavers Flooring and Furniture Gallery. It's time to come home to Carpet Weavers. We don't want you to just like your new floors. We want you to love them. From waterproof floors and carpet to furnitures and design advice, we've got a team of experts on your side. We'll get you the best price and the best quality products. and complete your home with furniture and accessories. Buy it all with free financing too. Come home to Carpet Weavers, where floors, furniture, and family meet.
Want unbeatable prices on your next furniture purchase, but also seeking that local hometown feel? Look no further than Kelsey Furniture in Tuscola. Customers rave about their friendly, established staff, as well as their great selection, amazing prices, and second-to-none delivery service. They're a third-generation local business, and they've always got your best interests at heart. Find the look you love for less. Open 9 to 5 Monday through Saturday, but always available online at kelseyfurniture.com. That's kelseyfurniture.com.
You're listening to St. Louis Cardinals baseball on WSJK Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, ESPN 93.5. Brought to you by Max Twin City Recycling. Visit them at maxrecycling.com.
Cardinals lose to the Pirates 2-1 in 13 innings. The Mercy Cardinals postgame show rolls on here across the Cardinals radio network, going back through the game with the highlights. Pitching matchup today, Eric Fetty going for the Cardinals and Mitch Keller going for the Pirates. Not a whole lot to talk about in the first handful of innings. In fact, the first 6-7 innings of this game would go by in just a little bit more than an hour, as those two pitchers, they were just mowing guys down. Even when the Pirates would get a base runner on, the Cardinals would turn two. Tommy Pham and a leadoff walk in the third inning. Jack Sawinski would ground into a double play. Brian Reynolds, a leadoff walk in the fourth inning. Andrew McCutchen grounded into a double play. There was an error in the sixth inning that allowed Sung-Jae Chang to reach on an error, and then he would be out on a strike him out, throw him out when Jack Sawinski strikes out, and then Chang's caught stealing at second base. That was in the sixth inning, 2 outs in that frame, and it is Brian Reynolds standing at the plate.
Fetty with the sidestep, the kick, the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Reynolds strikes out. 2 strikeouts in the inning. Ricky has the 7th. No score in Pittsburgh.
So that would actually be it for Eric Fetty. He would go 6 innings. He does not allow a single hit in the game. In the top of the 7th inning, Cardinals get a runner on in scoring position. That's Alec Burleson, who had a 2-out double, but Pedro Pajes would strike out, and it would send the game to the bottom of the 7th. Phil Maton comes on to pitch for the Cardinals, and the first batter he faces is Andrew McCutchen.
The next delivery from Maton is swung on and missed. An awkward swing by McCutchen, and he's going to head back to the Pirate dugout, a strikeout victim.
Joey Bart is then hit by a pitch. That brings up Brian Hayes. He would strike out as well. So a couple outs in the inning on 2 strikeouts, and standing in, it is Indy Rodriguez.
First pitch is hit into right field for a hit. The first Pirate hit of the game belongs to Indy Rodriguez. He lines a clean single into right field as we play here in the bottom of the 7th inning. So 6 2/3 hitless by Fetty and Maton.
Yeah, so that's the first hit that is recorded by the Pirates. An Indy Rodriguez single. Adam Frazier would line out there to finish things off in the 7th inning, and the game heads to the 8th, and there is still no score. A funky play in the 8th inning. So with 1 out, Thomas Sajaci gets a base hit, then Mason Wynn walks. That ends the day for Mitch Keller. On comes Caleb Ferguson. Lars Nootbaar hits the ball hard, but he lines out, and then that would bring up Wilson Contreras.
Keller, the swing, and this is popped up. It's on the infield, and the catch, and the ball's dropped, and it's a fair ball. And out at the plate is Thomas Sajaci.
Yeah, so a crazy play right there where there was a collision. The ball came loose. 2 players were basically on the ground there in the third baseline. So Sajaci had no path to the base. He went around them. At that point, it was Brian Hayes who picks up the baseball and applies the tag. Great opportunity for the Cardinals to score a run, but they don't. And the game goes to the bottom of the 8th inning, still scoreless. On to pitch for the Cardinals is Kyle Leahy. He strikes out Tommy Pham. Then a pinch hitter, and Emmanuel Valdez comes up to the plate. He lines out after a walk to Jack Sawinski. Brian Reynolds is at the plate with 2 outs.
Reynolds out of Vanderbilt, 30 years old, 2-time All-Star. He swings and strikes out. A breaking ball gets him, leaving Sawinski on. And we go to the 9th. Still 0-0 in Pittsburgh.
It would stay that way for a while. No scoring in the 9th inning. In the 10th inning, Cardinals have an opportunity. Alec Burleson starts the inning off at second base, but then he is replaced by pinch runner Michael Ciani. And with that, Pedro Pajes is at the plate, and the Cardinals have a prime opportunity to be in run-scoring position, but this ends up happening.
Here's the pitch. That's hit sharply in the left field. Base hit. Ciani is rounding third, and they're going to send him. The play at the plate, and he is out by 5 feet. A good, strong throw from left fielder Tommy Pham gets Michael Ciani at the plate. A base hit for Pajes, but the Cardinals do not score.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate situation right there, as he was out by a whole bunch. If he's not sent in that situation, you have runners on at first and third and nobody out. Instead, it's 1 on and 1 out, and the Cardinals don't score in the top of the 10th inning. The game eventually goes to the bottom of the 10th. Jojo Romero, he comes on to pitch for the Cardinals. Indy Rodriguez, the runner at second base, and Adam Frazier ground out allows Rodriguez to go to third. They intentionally walk Tommy Pham, but then Isaiah Kiner Falefa comes up to the plate. He would pop out to Brendan Donovan. Nobody can advance. Alex Canario then comes up to the plate as he is a pinch hitter looking to pick up a win for the Pirates.
Pitch to Canario is hit in the air to left field, and that is normal distance, and settling under it is Victor Scott, and we are going to the 11th. Great work by the Cardinals pen. Great work by Jojo Romero in the 10th. John will have the 11th. We are scoreless.
Yeah, scoreless indeed. No scoring for the Cardinals in the top of the 11th inning. In the bottom of the 11th, Ryan Helsley comes on to pitch. Alexander Canario starts the inning off at second. They intentionally walk Brian Reynolds with the idea to get to Andrew McCutchen.
Helsley with the pitch. Strike 3 called. A fastball froze McCutchen.
So there's that out that they really needed. The next hitter is Joey Bart.
1 out. Winning run at second base, Canario. A swing and a base hit into right field. Canario got a late break. Here comes the throw in from right, and the tag. He is out at the plate. Out at the plate. Nootbaar throws out the runner Canario.
So each team has a runner lost being sent from third. Ke'Bryan Hayes would end up grounding out, and that would finish things off in the 11th. To the 12th inning we go. In the 12th inning, Wilson Contreras starts the inning off at second. He would advance to third on a balk. Brendan Donovan a ground out where everybody has to stay put. They intentionally walk Nolan Arenado to eventually get to Jordan Walker, who replaces Michael Ciani as a pinch hitter. The Pirates go to their bullpen. Justin Lawrence comes into the game to face off against Walker.
Lawrence ready. The pitch to Walker, grounded to the right side, and that's going to be a base hit. A base hit to right field, and Arenado's headed to third. Arenado just stole third base on the right fielder, McCutchen, who just got the ball in easily, didn't think Arenado was going to run, but he took off, and now he's in scoring position. Jordan Walker comes through in the 12th. 1-0 Cardinals.
That was a really good decision there by Arenado, but just a few moments later on a Pedro Pajes ground ball, Arenado had snuck too far off of third, and he ends up being tagged out. That really hurt the Cardinals in that situation. Just the single run across in the top of the 12th inning, and the game goes to the bottom of the 12th. In the bottom of the 12th inning, Ke'Bryan Hayes starts the inning off at second base. Indy Rodriguez would fly out. That allows Hayes to move to third, and this is all against Steven Matz, who would come in to pitch. Adam Frazier, though, he strikes out looking. That is a huge moment, seemingly, in the inning. If not for this happening, Tommy Pham, the former Cardinal, at the plate.
Pham at the plate. First pitch to him is a ground ball base hit into left. Tommy Pham has tied the game. The first pitch he sees, he singles to left, and we're tied at 1.
Yeah, so it goes to the 13th inning. In the top of the 13th, the Cardinals get a runner on thanks to an intentional walk of Lars Nootbaar, and they strand 2. So to the bottom of the 13th we go, and Chris Roycroft is the new pitcher into the game for the Cardinals. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, he is the runner at second. Alexander Canario walks, then Brian Reynolds walks, so that loads the bases for Andrew McCutchen. McCutchen, he would ground out where they're able to get the force at home, so it keeps the game tied 1-1 with just 1 out. But then Joey Bart is at the plate, and he ends the game.
The bases are loaded. The 3-2 pitch with 1 out, a swing, and a high fly ball left field. And that is over Nootbaar's head, and Nootbaar can't catch it. The ball hits the track. Here comes Canario. The Pirates win 2-1. A single and an RBI. Roycroft is the loser, Lawrence the winner, and the Pirates take 2 out of 3. They won today in 13, 2-1.
Pirates go to 5-8. Cardinals drop to 5-7. Winning totals for the Pirates: 2 runs, 5 hits, no errors. They leave 14. For the Cardinals, 1 run, 7 hits, 1 error. They end up leaving 11. The winning pitcher, Lawrence, he's 1-0. The loss to Roycroft, he drops to 0-2. No home runs hit. A game that takes 3 hours and 23 minutes. Announced attendance 8,430 folks at PNC Park. Cardinals lose to the Pirates in 13 innings, 2-1. We'll hear from Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol coming up in just a moment. This is the Mercy Cardinals postgame show on the Cardinals Radio Network, powered by Graybar.
It's a gunner! A gunner! A home run for Lars Nootbaar!
Kick off your weekend at the ballpark. College Night at Busch Stadium is Friday, April 11th. Your $20 theme ticket gets you into the game. Plus, you will take home an exclusive Cardinals cap featuring the city's nickname, the Lou. Come early for the new Friday Night Live at Busch Stadium in the Budweiser Terrace. A happy hour with live music, discounted beer, and more. That's College Night at the ballpark, Friday, April 11th. For tickets or details, visit cardinals.com/theme.
This is Lars Nootbaar. See you at Busch Stadium.
Rattler Pest Solutions has been growing since 1956. Our goal is to provide superior service and a steadfast commitment to exceeding our clients' needs and expectations.
It's really important to me to try to stay local when you can. It's nice to know that when the Rattler Tech comes, you don't have to worry again. I believe in them, and I know that if there's a problem, they're going to solve it.
We stand behind our mission to give our customers and their pests the treatment they deserve. For quick, proven pest solutions, call Rattler.
Hey, all you backyard chefs and grill gurus, barbecue season is here, and I know that you're anxious to fire up that smoker or grill, but your yard needs mowed. Yes, your wife is getting hangry, but that grass isn't going to cut itself. What's an aspiring pitmaster going to do? Get the world's fastest mower, of course, a Dixie Chopper from Dedicated Diesel in Urbana. They carry a full line of Dixie choppers from the Z2 and Magnum residential models up to the big Excalibur and classic commercial machines that can mow nearly 8 acres an hour. This is award-winning competition pitmaster Tim Onstott, and whether I'm cooking low and slow or hot and fast, I always have time to savor the flavor because my mowing time is cut down by Dixie Chopper, the world's fastest mower. Get your Dixie Chopper at Champaign-Urbana's only dealer, Dedicated Diesel, at 1313 Triumph Drive in Urbana, 217-328-0562.
In 1925, a small plumbing company began its journey in Urbana, Illinois. Over the decades, the business grew thanks to hard work and great people. In 1966, things changed when Dave Reichard, a veteran, met veteran Ken Asklin, who was an architectural engineering grad from Illinois. The two realized their shared vision for excellence. Their partnership took root, and in 1975, the name changed to A&R Mechanical. With Dave as president and Ken as vice president, A&R Mechanical expanded services, becoming the go-to full-service contractor for all of Central Illinois. A&R went from a plumbing-only contractor to a full-service mechanical contractor with their own sheet metal shop. Today, A&R is a plumbing, heating, ventilation service company with the same excellence in customer service as they provided nearly 100 years ago. Design, build, and maintain. That's what served A&R Mechanical for nearly 100 years. Find them at Lincoln and Kettering in Urbana or online at ar-mech.com.
You're listening to St. Louis Cardinals baseball on WSJK Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, ESPN 93.5. Brought to you by Max Twin City Recycling. Visit them at maxrecycling.com.
The Cardinals.
2-1, the Cardinals lose in Pittsburgh to the Pirates in 13 innings. Welcome back in. This is the Mercy Cardinals postgame show across the Cardinals radio network. Cardinals lose, and it hurts that much more because you got a great pitching performance from Erick Fedde, who went 6 no-hit innings today, 2 strikeouts. The only issue you take with Fedde was 4 walks, but defensively behind him, they turned a bunch of double plays. It wasn't until Phil Maton came in the 7th inning that the Pirates even came up with their first hit of the day. So that was a great performance today from Erick Fedde. Let's listen into Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol. He spoke with the media just a little while ago, and he did open up talking about the pitching that we saw really from both teams. This audio is courtesy of our friends at FanDuel Sports Network Midwest.
Both staffs did a nice job of throwing up zeros. So there's games where we're not going to get 10 hits and score 5-6 runs, and today was one of them. You're just trying to scratch and get on the board. But every time we did, it was a tough one.
The decision to take Fedde out, was that a hard one or easy one, considering he was at 88 pitches? He had no hitter going, but he was deep in the pitch count.
Yeah, is he going to finish that game? The answer is no. He's on 5 days rest for the first time. He threw, max of 76 pitches last time out. You're taking him to right around 85, 90 today. He's got less than 10 pitches to work with and 3 innings of game to go. So if you're in the 8th inning, yeah, I'd let him ride and see what you got. But try to cover the 7th, 8th, and 9th. He's not going to finish that game. Yeah.
What did you see from Rory Goff there at the end?
Just not sharp. You got to be able to pound the zone there. He's working on it. This is a guy that is part of it. Of being at the highest level and making adjustments at the highest level. There's going to be games that look like that, and you have to stay patient and figure out a way to continue getting better. Yeah.
13th is not the result you want, obviously, but what do you think about the patchwork you got from your bullpen to get you there?
Damn. Yeah, those guys did a nice job of just getting their lane and getting after guys. You look at Fedde comes out of the game, and Phil does a nice job. Leahy, Fernandez look good today. You don't want to use Matt's back-to-back, but he comes in and does a nice job. He gets the ground ball through the 6-hole. But Helsley, Joe, you go down the list, those guys all did a really nice job of getting their lanes and giving us a shot. Unfortunately, we weren't able to.
How about walking
to get a run
off the bench and punching?
Yeah, we run there and give ourselves the best chance to potentially score a run. We know that Walker could take that at bat in that lefty lane that we created once they go to the left, and it was nice to see him come through there. Yeah.
How much do you guys need a day off tomorrow? You've had 4 rain delays, you've had 4 extra inning games, you've got a doubleheader.
I feel like we've played a month worth of games, so a lot of extra innings, a lot of rain delays, a lot of it'll be good. Yeah.
You get Helsley up in the 11th there. You enter him because he's been up twice already, correct?
Yeah, he's been up twice, and we wanted, even if we were down today, he was going to pitch. Mm-hmm. And what I didn't want is him to sit on his last outing, going off day, and only throwing once in a week. So you get walked off prior to him throwing. That's exactly what that looks like. So we wanted to make sure we got him in that game. He did a nice job of giving us a shot.
That's Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol. That audio is courtesy of FanDuel Sports Network Midwest. Cardinals lose today. They fall to the Pirates 2-1 in 13 innings. This is the Mercy Cardinals postgame show on the Cardinals Radio Network, powered by Graybar.
Baseball is all about stepping up to the plate when it matters most. And when you've been injured, you need a heavy hitter in your corner. At Morgan & Morgan, we don't back down. We fight to get you every dollar you deserve. No curveballs, no strikeouts, just results. That's why we've recovered over $25 billion for our clients and fight for them from offices nationwide. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Proud sponsor of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Rise to the occasion at One Cardinal Way, where luxury living meets legacy baseball in the heart of Ballpark Village. With limited homes remaining for the 2025 season, this is your chance to claim front row views of the St. Louis Skyline, Gateway Arch, Busch Stadium, and enjoy VIP access to Ballpark Village. Rooftop pool, private cabanas, grilling stations, and a fully staffed private bar. More than a home, it's next level living. Visit OneCardinalWay.com to schedule your tour before these exclusive homes are gone.
Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group's Diana Foltz, recent recipient of Champaign County's Realtor of the Year.
Diana, how do you know you've been successful?
I know that when we are invited to personal events in their lives,
first birthday parties, weddings, gatherings. We know that we've been more than just their realtor. We know that we've made these relationships deep and that it goes beyond just the sale of the house. And it speaks a lot to what we want, which is to serve our clients and to, be more friends than just a realtor.
Why do you like what you do?
I really enjoy helping either a buyer or seller to get to the next chapter. And they're relying on Reggie and I to help them achieve their next goal.
You're their realtor.
We're their realtor. It's Taylor Foltz team, Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group. You can find me on the internet at dianafoltz.com. Cell phone number is 217-840-4133. And my email is diana@dianafoltz.com.
At ABC, it's your chance to get that air conditioner and furnace you've needed. ABC Heating and Air Conditioning can now offer 12 months same as cash, 9.9% financing, or up to $2,000 cash back on residential Amana units. Whether you need a furnace and or air conditioner, you can take advantage of this deal through the end of March. ABC means always be comfortable. Let locally and family-owned ABC take care of you. Call Gina today at 217-352-5400 or visit abcheatingandac.com.
You have money laying all around your house. You just don't know it. And no, I don't mean selling your great-grandma's good china. I mean all the old metal items you don't want to use or get rid of. Don't pay someone to haul it away. Bring it into Max Twin City Recycling and get paid to have it taken off your hands. They love new customers and are more than willing to walk you through their process step by step. Come check them out at 2808 North Lincoln Avenue in Urbana.
Starting it over is what we do at Max Twin City Recycling.
You're listening to St. Louis Cardinals baseball on WSJK Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, ESPN 93.5. Brought to you by Max Twin City Recycling. Visit them at maxrecycling.com.
The Cardinals lose in Pittsburgh 2-1 in 13 innings. They lose 2 of 3 in the series. This is the Mercy Cardinals postgame show. Scores from across the NL Central. They are in the bottom of the ninth in Chicago. The Cubs did just push across a run, but they are still down. They trail the Rangers by a 6-2 score. The Reds and Giants are playing in San Francisco. The Reds just put a 5 spot up in the top of the third inning, and they lead by a 5-0 score through 3. And then later on tonight, Brewers and Rockies in Denver. Tyler Alexander will start for Milwaukee. Scores across the schedule across the Cardinals minor league system. AAA Memphis plays at Nashville tonight. Sim Robertson is going to start for the Redbirds. AA Springfield, they are at Amarillo. One final today. The Palm Beach Cardinals lose at Bradenton 12-6. One postponement. Peoria will be unable to play their game at South Bend as a result of bad weather. In our game, the Cardinals lose to the Pirates at 2-1 in 13 innings. This is the Mercy Cardinals postgame show on the Cardinals Radio Network, powered by Gray Bar.
Looking for an event space that will leave your guests talking? Cardinals Special Events offers all sorts of unique venue options in the St. Louis Cardinals' iconic Busch Stadium, as well as in Cardinals Nation inside Ballpark Village. From corporate celebrations to personal milestones and everything in between, Cardinals Special Events can help your group make memories that will last a lifetime. Visit cardinals.com/events to learn more.
Hyatt Regency St. Louis, close to everything. Just 3 blocks from Busch Stadium and right next to the Gateway Arch. Swing by Brew House Historical Sports Bar, located inside Hyatt Regency St. Louis for pregame fare and postgame celebration before and after every Cardinals game. Driving in? Park with ease in the heart of downtown with our Park and Stay package. Enjoy valet parking for 1 standard size vehicle per room per night. Don't strike out. Book this exclusive offer today with code 89937 at HyattRegencySt.Louis.com.
All right, Tim, Gale Ferrex Trucking, looking for drivers at all?
Yeah, we're going to do a little push here. And until we get the trucks full, I'm going to do something a little bit crazy. We're going to go ahead and reinstitute our $4,000 sign-on bonus for the month of April. So I can guarantee the first 2 guys that come in are going to get that. Now, after that, that will fill up the trucks, and I don't know what we'll have to reevaluate then, but we'll carry that through either till the end of April or till the trucks are filled up.
To the person listening, Tim, what do they do to get this $4,000 signing bonus in case they'd like to act on that?
They can email me at TIMO@GFTLOG.com. They can call my office at 879-37131. They can drop by Dedicated Diesel in Urbana at 1313 Triumph Drive and see Mandy, and she can get them the paperwork and get them in touch with me.
It's halftime of the big sale. We have Dick Van Dyke, Appliance World coach Paul Reekin here. Paul, what's the game plan?
It's just like I was telling my team. These prices are low, but they just aren't low enough.
Well, Paul, what do you do?
We have a top-of-the-line Electrolux laundry pair. I'm going with a free pedestal on the pair, free delivery and installation, and this hurts, but I'm going to throw in an additional $100 off.
No way.
That's over $600 off the whole pair.
Thanks, Paul.
Team, get to the locker room. We have to talk about what I just promised this radio guy.
And there you have it from Dick Van Dyke Appliance World, where you always get up.
Wow.
Your number one sports bar and grill is Pia's. Head to 1609 West Springfield Avenue to watch all your favorite sports teams play on the big screen TVs as you enjoy great drink specials and the famous 10-ounce Slugger Burger. With the slot machines, darts, video, golf, and outdoor beer garden, meet your friends at Pia's. Since 1975, open mornings at 7 a.m., Sundays at 8. See you at Pia's.
You're listening to St. Louis Cardinals baseball on WSJK Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, ESPN 93.5. Brought to you by Max Twin City Recycling. Visit them at maxrecycling.com.
Really tough loss for the Cardinals today in Pittsburgh, 2-1 in 13 innings. Welcome back into the Mercy Cardinals postgame show. Time to take a look at the Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance Saves leaderboard. Nothing really has changed since we did this last night. Luke Jackson from the Rangers and Robert Suarez from the Padres each have 5, and then Washington's Kyle Finnegan and Seattle's Andres Munoz each have 4. That is your Saves leaderboard, brought to you by Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and if you're a Missourian, we're for you. Cardinals get a much-needed day off tomorrow before they get back at it at home coming up on Friday night. They'll open up a weekend series against the Phillies. The Cardinals will have Andre Palante on the mound. The right-hander is 1-0 with a 3.86 ERA. Aaron Nola is set to go for the Phillies. He's a right-hander. He's had a bit of a slow start to his season. He's 0-2 with a 6.35 ERA. 7:15 first pitch coming up on Friday night. That means coverage across the network is set to begin at 6:20. For the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney and Ricky Horton, who had the call of the game. For Mike Claiborne, who's on assignment. For on-site producer engineer Ryan Schulte. For our studio producer engineers today in Matt Pajeski and James O'Sullivan. For pregame show host Tom Ackerman, I'm Matt Pauley, thanking you for being tuned in to the broadcast today. Once again, the Cardinals, they lose to Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh, 2-1 in 13 innings. They lose 2 of 3 in the series, and we'll talk to you again coming up on Friday night from Busch Stadium from our Cardinals baseball across the Cardinals radio network, powered by Gray Bar.
I'm Justin Ike, co-owner of Fred's Plumbing, Heating, Air Conditioning, Electric, and Underground.
So, Justin, tell me what you see as typical when it comes to sewer repair. Give me a scenario.
Your sewer's backed up and somebody comes along and says, you need this repair for X amount of dollars. Here's my price. And you don't think to go looking for another company or a second opinion because you don't feel like you have time.
So is it possible that you might get charged a little more because it's kind of a desperate moment? Do some companies do that?
Oh, absolutely they will. They know you're in a pinch. Typically, if you call us, me or Will can be out there within an hour to look at that problem for you. Whether you call me first or you call me second, make sure you give me a call.
Anything else, Justin?
You can always trust Fred's.
Great to know. Thank you. That's Justin Ike, the co-owner of Fred's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, Electric, and Underground. If you want more information about this great 45-year family-owned company, just go to fredscu.com. That's fredscu.com.
It's time to plan your summer swimming season. Urbana Park District is selling pool memberships to Crystal Lake Park Family Aquatic Center. Memberships are on sale through April. The pool opens Memorial Day weekend. Single, family, senior, and veteran rates available. Purchase memberships in person at Phillips Recreation Center, 505 West Stoughton, or at Urbana Indoor Aquatic Center. Call 217-367-1544 for details. Urbana Park District, you belong here.
We're talking to John Reichert from A&R Mechanical. 100 years in our community. So many buildings in this town, like Memorial Stadium. Of course, the State Farm Center. Can you remember the reaction of the company getting that? Because that's a big one.
Oh, that was huge. If you just think about it a little bit, everything we put in is straight, pipe is straight. We're putting all that into a round building. And, it took a lot of know-how to make that project happen. It was one of the first projects we did using our new technologies. And the timing was just right. We were the right people for that project, and I think we did it successfully.
The legacy of A&R. John, I could almost say, what haven't you built? Up and down campus, the Siebel Center was fairly new for computer science.
Everybody was working as a team, and I think it came out very well.
A&R Mechanical has helped build Carl at the Fields expansion and other Carl projects in Provena and Sarah Bush Lincoln. The list goes on and on. Visit them at ar-mech.com.
Hey, what's up? It's the Drive with Sam Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. Derek Piper, Kyle Tosk. On late because of Cardinals baseball there in Pittsburgh. An extra innings affair between the Redbirds and the Pirates. 2-1 the final. Pittsburgh wins 2 out of 3. Frustrating game for the Cardinals, who are in a real rough patch after sweeping the opening series against the Twins. Since then, 2-7. Lost 2 of 3 at home to the Angels. All 3 of them in Boston, and then 2 of 3 to Pittsburgh. And very frustrating in terms of the late innings. You get a guy on second in extra innings, and there were 4 extra innings. Guy on second automatically with the rule implementation, and the Cardinals only managed 1 run during those 4 innings and not able to push enough across. There in the 13th, the Pirates win it. So,
nobody wanted to win that game.
I know.
Nobody.
I didn't know we were going to have a show. It was going to be the 22nd inning about 5 o'clock. I'm like, all right, guess we're off for today.
Man, I think the Cardinals' chance in that game was the dropped pop-up. That's a base hit for Wilson Contreras that goes 6 feet on a pop-up that 2 Pirates can't figure out how to catch. And then I don't know who the Cardinal runner was. I don't know if you remember. He's he's watching the ball. He's like, oh, you going to tag me out? Here you go. What are you waiting for, man? The ball's on the ground. Touch home plate.
Not smart baseball. Then the 10th inning, you have Michael Ciani start on second base. Pedro Pages hits a line drive to left field for a single, but Ciani decides to run on Tommy Pham, who was really shallow and left, and he gets shot by a mile. And ultimately, the Cardinals don't score. Could have had first and third with nobody out, but end up getting shot at the plate.
Why are you sending a guy
It
with
was
no one out?
a really dumb send. And don't get a run there. The Pirates don't score in the bottom half. That could have been the difference in the game. But there you have the Cardinals sitting at 5-7. They're towards the bottom, not at the dead last spot in the NL Central, because the Brewers have struggled. The Reds have been struggling as well. Your Cubbies at the very top. They do lose today, afternoon baseball, against the Rangers, but another series win for the Cubs. Back-to-back against very quality teams. First the Padres, then the Rangers. So as it stands right now, Cubs 9-5, they're in first place. Brewers actually have won a few in a row here, 6-5, they're a game and a half back. Cardinals and Reds both 5-7, they're 3 out, and Pirates 5-8. So that was a team that was not playing well going into this series, and the Cardinals did allow them though to get 2 of 3. The funny part of it all is that the Cardinals beat Skeens in their 1 win.
They have like 3 of his 4 career losses, don't they?
Yes.
They own him.
That was going around on Twitter last night, and I wanted to pull that up just to give a little bit more context to the stats. So
It's got to make you feel good having him, though, in the division for the next 6 years that you figured him out.
Oh, yeah. I cannot
Cubs
wait.
certainly haven't.
Can't wait to keep facing him, right?
I mean,
definitely not.
Maybe he's not looking forward to facing that Cardinal lineup.
Possibly. We're the one that makes him mortal, apparently, although his ERA against the Cardinals is not bad. He just tends to find a way to be on the wrong side of it. So he's made 26 career starts. Yes, the NL Rookie of the Year last year, and certainly Cy Young's in his future. 2.14 career ERA so far, a 12-4 record in decisions that he's had. He's made 4 starts against the Cardinals, 0-3. So for the record, he is 12-1 against everyone else, and he's 0-3 against the Cardinals. Now, he only has a 2.70 ERA in those 4 starts against the Cardinals, but they were able to have some timely hits, and, man, Victor Scott's 2-out triple last night to, I think, score 2 at the time, and they tacked on another one with Brendan Donovan, who's off to a really hot start, and they were able to get that thing done. And they needed a get-right win, even though they do turn around and lose today. But it is kind of just, I don't know if ironic's the right word to use there. It's just kind of funny, really, that the Cardinals have been in this huge rut, but the one win they do get is against one of the best pitchers in baseball.
Today, man, you get 6 no-hit innings from Eric Fedde and can't cash that in after the Cardinals pitching has struggled. That's got to sting pretty bad. That lineup, other than today, until today, they had, 9 hits in every single game this year. Like
you've been running that stat, and it's true, yeah.
They're hitting the ball. I think they'll hang around. Like, I get they've struggled here recently, and I'm sure the Cardinal fans are like, oh, cool, we'll be a 500 team. But I think they'll be
I
like,
would take it.
I would say they're going to be right around that 80-81 win mark when it's all said and done. That's kind of where I'd figure them to be.
I'd be okay with a feisty team that, is around the 500 mark. Obviously, you'd want more, and it's still so early in the season, but you understand the flaws. I mean, we knew the starting pitching, especially beyond Sonny Gray, was really sketchy. The bullpen has been pretty concerning. The Cardinals are towards the bottom of the league. They're in bullpen ERA. It's over 5. Now, they didn't do all that bad today. I mean, you only give up two runs ultimately in the entire game, but the lineup has been better than expected. Jordan Walker's hit pretty well. Nootbaar at the top of the order. I know he goes hitless today, 0 for 5, but he's been pretty good and has been getting on base. Donovan, who's not your traditional 3-hole hitter, probably want more pop there in a normal situation, but he's hitting 375, OPS near 1,000. It's just been a couple of guys. Contreras has not gotten going. Mason Wynn better here in the last couple of games than some of the slower start for him. But on the whole, it's been a fine lineup. It's just been some starting pitching that isn't good enough. Michael is part of that. Liberatore part of that for sure. And then the bullpen has left a lot to be desired here. And again, it's a team that didn't add in the offseason, didn't try to get better, and will probably be in the situation at the trade deadline that the talks of Arenado come up again, and possibly Helsley, possibly Sonny Gray, and as far as that goes, that will be, we expected that going into the year, and again, we're only 12 games into the season, but right now you're like, oh yeah, okay, this is going to be one of those rides that could be frustrating, and yet again, Cardinals fans are not in a position to be competitive, expected division challengers, could make some noise in the playoffs, as far as, that used to be a year in and year out thing, and once again, you're in that spot where it's probably not going to be a great year.
Both teams now, the Cubs and Cardinals, have some nightmarish stretches coming up here the next
I was telling you.
Couple weeks. Cubs are off to Los Angeles and San Diego, the West Coast road trip of death.
And you were talking about the way that the rotation stacks up for the Dodgers. That's coming up this weekend, right?
Yeah, the Dodgers push back Yamamoto to start on Friday, so they're setting up Yamamoto, Sasaki, and Tyler Glasnow for the 3 games. And now Justin Steele's on the IL for the Cubs, so they'll be starting Colin Ray on Sunday night. Yeah, he's got elbow tendonitis. That's not what you want to hear.
And he just had a good start in the freezing cold there the other night.
Yeah, he said the tendonitis popped up mid-start, and he still went out there and dominated for 3 more innings, and then they put him on the IL. So hopefully it's not serious, but lose one of your best starters heading into that road trip where he was supposed to pitch a couple times, not ideal.
That is not, although I would have a lot more confidence, and the Cubs, again, have beaten good teams here recently, a lot more confidence in what the Cubs could do on their road trip as opposed to the Cardinals going back home and facing the Phillies for 3, and you do stack up to face, now that's a really good rotation. It's pretty well-rounded, but you get Aaron Nola. I know he's got an ERA over 6, but still a pretty good pitcher. Christopher Sanchez and Zach Wheeler over the weekend that you're going to face with the Phillies, and after that you get Houston, and then a 4-gamer on the road against the Mets, and a 3-gamer on the road against the Braves. The Braves have not played well, but it's still some time for them to figure things out. And yeah, that's pretty scary. Where the front end of the schedule we knew was going to be favorable for the Cardinals, although a trip to Boston is certainly a challenging one. But to have the Angels at home, even though the Angels do lead the West as of right now, wouldn't expect that to stick in any way.
Don't they do that like every year?
Yeah,
they're
right.
good in like the first 3 weeks of the year. There's some of these random teams that always get off to insane starts, and then they fall back to 70 wins. I feel like the Angels always start hot. I could be wrong about that, but I feel I feel
like the Tigers do that too.
Yes, yeah. There was somebody a couple years ago was like 13-2, and then they won 72 games or something like that. I can't remember who it is.
And you have the inverse of that. You've got that Nationals team, right, that won the World Series. I forget what the record was, but I remember they fire their manager and ultimately then go on to win the World Series. That Phillies team that got hot and went to the World Series.
They fired their manager too. Girardi got fired, right?
It was Girardi, yeah. That's a good call. They fired their manager midseason and ended up going on there to the World Series. So there you have it. Cardinals just fire Ollie. That's all you got to do.
And that'll turn everything around.
Yeah, no.
That'll make that pitching staff all of a sudden dominant. That's all it takes.
No. Well, I'm still excited every night when baseball's on.
I know, right?
I'm excited to throw on some games. And after the Cardinals finished up last night, flipped over and watched the rest of the Cubs game, and that's great that you have it every night, that there are so many games in action. But it is, for a Cardinals team, some frustrations earlier in this season, and you are fearful of what's to come with the way the schedule stacks up. Where are you as far as, okay, I'll give you 1 out of 10 with the Cubs as far as confidence in winning the NL Central as of right now?
7.
Yeah.
I would have been at like a 5 preseason. I think I've upped it to a 7, seeing the way the Cubs have started the year. Although I don't want to fully overreact to the first 3 weeks of the season, because the last 2 Aprils, the Cubs also got off to nice starts. Now, it wasn't quite against this difficult a schedule, but they've been hot starters the last few years and then have totally faded in May. Their record in May the last 2 seasons has been a disaster and has cost them any hope at the playoffs. So that'll be a big month for the Cubs, because the way this schedule sets out, you got to go through this West Coast trip now, and then you also have the Phillies and the D-backs after that. But after April, you have a super easy May. So if you can just survive April here, and they've done a great job of that already. I mean, going into this West Coast trip, winning a series at Wrigley against both the Padres and Rangers, and sweeping the Athletics, which is like your only easy series of the whole month, is exactly what you want to see. So the hope is to just survive April and then really get going in May. And just seeing what the Brewers have done, they just have more holes than I would have thought. And they always, I mean, their roster isn't filled with talent or big names. Or, you look at the 2 rosters on paper and you'd say the Cubs probably have a clearly better talent pool of players. I never want to count Milwaukee out. They have struggled, though, with their pitching here this year. And I think their pitching situation is in a little bit worse shape than I would have thought, especially in the rotation. So I do like the way the Cubs have started the year. I don't really think the Cardinals, Pirates, or Reds will be any threat based on what I've seen. Maybe the Reds can be sneaky if they actually learn how to hit, because their pitching's been spectacular so far. And if you would have come into the season with the Reds, you would have said, their lineup's got a bunch of good young hitters. Can they pitch? They've pitched outstandingly. They just can't hit. So if that flips, maybe they could hang around. But I think it's a Cubs-Brewers race. And based on the early impressions of both teams, I'd be at about a 7 that the Cubs ultimately can get it done. Their offense has been awesome for the Cubs, and if Steele's injury is minor, that rotation I feel pretty good about too.
I think I agree with that 7 number for sure. You mentioned the offense, 10 runs last night. Dansby Swanson, we've discussed. I even mentioned to you as one of the burning questions going into the season for the Cubs is Dansby able to rechannel some of that power or just kind of have a breakout year with the Cubs? He's already got 4 home runs early on this season, 2 for 4 last night with the bomb, 4 RBIs. Kyle Tucker, man, an OPS near 1,200, batting average 339. Actually, it's crazy that his OPS doesn't lead the team because that's Carson Kelly's position. Even though he's batting 9, he's got an OPS of 1262.
The catcher spot has been incredible for the Cubs, and that's been a total black hole the last 2 years.
Pete Crow Armstrong goes 3 for 5 last night. Seiya Suzuki's heated up.
He's been great.
And didn't he have a triple today?
He did. Yep. Yeah, he's been awesome. Tucker's been phenomenal. Looks like an MVP candidate so far. Just the exact type of hitter the Cubs needed in the middle of the order, because it takes some pressure off everybody else. All of a sudden, Suzuki doesn't have to be the number one hitter in your lineup. Now you got guys that are pitching around Tucker to get to Suzuki, or they're pitching when you're facing a lefty. Suzuki hits in front of Tucker, and they're really careful, or they'll give Suzuki pitches to hit because you've got one of the best hitters in baseball behind him. It changes the whole lineup, having him in there, and really just the at-bats the Cubs have put together. It's been a deep lineup. I'm sure they'll go through some slumps, but it just feels like a more complete offensive group than we've had in the past here.
You know what kind of stinks? June 23rd, the first time the Cubs and Cardinals will see each other.
Why do they do that every year?
So weird.
Every year they do that.
I don't know. All right, we're due for a break. 217-359-2255. Hit us up on the Max Twin City Recycling text line. Wade's already got on the line. I have basketball questions submitted. We can talk plenty of that. Transfer portal and the like. So we'll do that next. Stick around with us. It is The Drive.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
For 90 days, replaced by a flat 10% tariff on all imports following sharp market downturns.
Well, I thought that people were jumping a little bit out of line. They were getting yippy, They were getting a little bit yippy, a little bit afraid.
But the tariff rate on China will increase to 125% on imports after Beijing announced retaliatory tariff rates on U.S. goods.
China wants to make a deal. They just don't know how quite to go about it.
President Trump says more than 75 countries have reached out to the administration seeking trade talks.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. The S&P jumping more than 9%, the NASDAQ more than 12%. Goldman Sachs rescinding a recession forecast. The president first announcing the pause with a social media post, while U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer was at a House hearing defending the president's tariff policy.
It looks like your boss just pulled the rug out from under you and paused the tariffs, the taxes on the American people. There's no strategy. You just found out 3 seconds ago, sitting here, we saw you.
Nevada Democratic Congressman Stephen Horsford also suggesting possible market manipulation, which Greer denied. California Congressman Ro Khanna says he supports tariffs on China, but not chaos. The House now debating a Senate budget bill that doesn't have as many spending cuts as some House Republicans want. Holdouts are concerned about tax cuts adding to the national debt. The bill would make the 2017 tax cuts permanent. America is listening to Fox News.
Hey, fellow Gen Xers, it's Elizabeth Banks. Big news! The recommended age for pneumococcal pneumonia vaccination has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. It's up to us to lead the charge. After all, we gave the world the internet. We're trailblazers. Let's lead the way again, because we are at over 6 times greater risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Gen X, this is our shot. Head to VaxAssist.com and schedule today. That's VaxAssist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-687-7979. That's 800-687-7979. 800-687-7979.
Investigators say a youth soccer coach in California accused of sexually assaulting 3 teen boys and killing one of them is from El Salvador and in the U.S. illegally.
The L.A. County District Attorney is charging 43-year-old Mario Edgardo Garcia Aquino with murder and a special allegation of murder during the commission of lewd acts with a child. That makes him eligible for the death penalty if convicted. Now, police say he killed one of his own soccer players, Oscar Omar Hernandez. He took a train to visit him at his home north of L.A. back on March 28th, but he never returned, and his family reported him missing 2 days later. Tragedy Tragically, his body was later found dumped off the side of a road in Oxnard. Authorities have not yet disclosed how they believe he was killed.
Fox's Bill Malugin. Immigration officials say they've never encountered the suspect before. The LA County DA says when police and sheriff's officials investigate a crime, they don't ask about immigration status. The U.S. turning the tide on drug cartels with more seizures at sea.
The Coast Guard unloaded nearly 50,000 pounds of illegal drugs, cocaine and marijuana at the docks of Port Everglades, taken when capturing Mexican cartel smugglers on ships in the Atlantic. FBI Director Kash Patel says the operations are part law enforcement, part national security.
And the people that are hearing that message the loudest are the cartels and CJNG and Sinaloa cartels and the others down in the south of the border. But as these brave men and women have mentioned, there is no border that they will not defend.
These confiscated drugs could have made the cartels more than $500 million in illicit sales.
Fox's Evan Brown in Fort Lauderdale. The Vatican confirming a private meeting between Pope Francis and Britain's King Charles, who's on a state visit to Italy. It's the first announced meeting for the Pope since he returned to the Vatican after a 5-week hospital stay for life-threatening pneumonia. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
Well, tell me, Tim Onsett, lawn mowing season soon, Dixie Chopper, dedicated diesel. It's off Route 45 as you're heading toward Rantoul. You turn left on Triumph Drive till you can't drive anymore, and you'll be right there. And you got some Dixie Choppers I could buy.
Oh, yeah. Andy's got his hands full with Dixie Choppers, and stop by, see Andy, get a great deal on a mower.
Fastest mower you can buy, so you don't have to spend 2 hours out there. You might spend 45 minutes, and plus, Andy can tune it up or fix it.
Sure he can. Yeah, we got a full shop ready to go. Whatever you need.
When it comes to early on here in the spring, it can be, weeds up to your mid-thigh or whatever. So sometimes you need a really tough kind of mower to get through all that in the brush.
Well, yeah, these are built solid. They'll get through that stuff, and all of the structural components have a great warranty. So if something does go wrong, we can definitely get it fixed. Get Andy at Dedicated Diesel, 217-328-0562, or Dedicated Equipment on Facebook.
Back on the drive with Sam Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. Derek Piper, Kyle Tosk. Let's talk some college basketball, shall we? That's what everybody wants to hear about. Wade filed in a text on the Max Twin City Recycling text line. It's a good one. I think I know my answer pretty obviously, but it's worth discussing for sure. If you could only pick one for this upcoming year's Illini, would it be Will Riley, Dame Sarr, or Ian Jackson? Jackson, of course, the transfer from North Carolina, would be a sophomore this upcoming year, a 5-star McDonald's All-American out of the Bronx in high school. And Dame Sarr, the very talented Italian guard, now playing right now at the Nike Global Camp. That's going to be Saturday night on Peacock. You'll have the Team USA versus the World Team. And Sarr and Mirkovic, newly committed Illini forward, will be on the World Team. So that will be, if you have Peacock, worth watching for sure to see how those guys look. And I think for Sarr in particular, who's been killing it recently for Barcelona, that's one where I think eyes are on him in terms of his performance. If he kills it, if he's one of the stars of that game, could that be a situation where he wants to go full bore on the NBA draft and really test his stock and see if he can go this year? That's something to keep an eye out for. And then, of course, Will Riley, stud down the stretch for Illinois, projected in the middle of the first round by ESPN. We updated you guys on what their mock draft that released yesterday has as of now, which is him at number 16 overall. Kyle, this is an easy answer for me. I think it's probably going to be an easy answer for you. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but Will Riley, year 2, I'm all aboard.
Yeah, Wade, I needed 2 seconds to think about that one. Will Riley is the choice there. A guy that has been in the program, but also a guy that I think could be an All-American with a second year in college, with his talent and just his familiarity. One more year of physical development to go with all the natural skills he has. The experience he got on the ball last year, I think, could make him somebody that could be almost your primary ball handler, at least a guy that has the ball in his hands all the time for you next year. one of the top scorers in the Big Ten. I think he would be. I mean, Ian Jackson's a guy who had a strong freshman year overall too, and could have a big sophomore breakout. But the familiarity of Riley, the chemistry that he's already built, especially with a guy like Tommy down the stretch of this year, and you get that guy back for a second year at Illinois, it's a no-brainer versus an unknown in Sarr. You expect that he would be a really key contributor, but still an unknown and a young player that would be in his first year in college, and a guy that would be transferring in and unfamiliar with Illinois. To me, it's a no-brainer.
One thing I would present, Sarr and Jackson have attributes that this roster needs that Will Riley doesn't help you as much with in terms of athleticism, in terms of downhill driving, and in terms of defense, where Sarr profiles as a guy that should be. Now, it's a freshman, and you never fully know, although he's been guarding in the EuroLeague, he's been guarding professionals, so that's something that, in terms of the level of competition, I don't expect him to like have a shock value of, oh, this is what college basketball is like. But he seems like somebody that could be a pretty good asset defensively because of his length. I saw that he measured at around 6'6", 6'7", with a wingspan near 7 foot at the Nike Hoop Summit. He's got a 6'11" wingspan. And just to give you context, David Mirkovic, who is a 6'8", 6'9" forward, measured at 6'8" at the Nike Hoop Summit, and Sarr actually has a longer wingspan than a guy who's a couple of inches taller than him. So he's rangy. He's got the wingspan. Ian Jackson's an explosive athlete and above the rim guy, downhill type of driver that this offense should be able to really highlight and really allow them to succeed with the way that Illinois can space it out with their front court. All that being said, give me Will Riley because of all the reasons you said. I mean, the fact that he's already very established in this offense, the fact that he has familiarity with Tommy, with Kylan, and he's gone against, or maybe during the summer played with Ty Rodgers, and as far as that goes, and just a guy that could be a flat out stud in the Big Ten. I know I said yesterday that he could potentially be the Big Ten Player of the Year. Kyle, of course, offered up a great point, which we should probably start that conversation with Braden Smith, and anybody is going to have to knock him off that pedestal for sure.
Heck, I think Purdue would have two very strong candidates for that award next year.
It's true. I thought about this when I was away from the show. I don't know if it was last night or recently. We talked about, would Tommy be the top center in the Big Ten? Trey Kaufman-Renn, we probably have to. Is he not a center? He had to play center this past year. If Jacobson slides back in, then Renn maybe is a power forward.
I brought him up and said I don't consider him a center because he'll be playing alongside Oscar Clough or Daniel Jacobson next year at the 4.
That's fair.
So
okay,
if he does count, yes, he's number 1.
Yeah, all right.
He's the number 1 front court piece in the Big Ten coming back. It's not close.
Sure.
Tommy at the true 5 spot, I think, has a case. It's hard for me because there's still so much roster movement. Some really good center could have committed to Washington, and I missed it. So I'm not totally positive if there's somebody that I'm forgetting, but I would venture to say that Tommy would have a chance to be the best 5 in the Big Ten next year.
What if Yaxel Lendenborg?
See, is he technically a center?
No, but a front court piece.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd probably.
No, he would be.
Would you power rank him above Trey Kaufman-Renn?
Probably not until I see him play consistently in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Coming from the American.
Yeah. But he'd very much be in the top echelon. He's currently, which I want to get to before we get out of here. At some point this hour, I want to go through the top ranked transfers according to 24/7 Sports, their transfer portal rankings. Yaxel, as of right now, is the number 1 ranked guy that entered the portal, but he's already announced his commitment to Michigan. Still going to go through the NBA draft process, and we'll see if he decides to come back to school and play in the Big Ten. But to finish the thought on Will Riley, like playmaking wing, can run so much offense through him. Shot maker, what he can develop into, you would hope, with some more physical work with Adam Fletcher and just the growth potential for him year 1 to year 2 could take a massive jump. And while Jackson could do something similar, and while Sarr could be a really nice impact piece that maybe similar to Riley's, after 1 year in college is thought to be a first-round pick and maybe even a high one. Ultimately, I would go with Will Riley. Now, Brian asked a really interesting question that maybe is the better question to ask as of right now. Out of Sarr, Riley, and Jackson, who do we have the best shot at? As of right now, I would say Dame Sarr, because they've been in a pretty darn good position for a while. It has gotten more complicated as he's played as well as he has. There was a real chance that he was going to commit all the way back. There was word of it pretty strongly on my end in January that he was thinking about making that effort to just put his commitment out there and get that thing done. But ultimately, if it sounded like, from the standpoint of he had kind of had if you remember, he had the situation where he was going to transfer to another pro team, then ended up backing out of it, and that created a little bit of a firestorm over there in Europe. And so he was with Barcelona. I think that they didn't want, out of respect for Barcelona and everything, they just kind of wanted that to calm down a little bit for the rest of the season. So nothing was announced, at least as far as I understood it.
Did I see him create another firestorm here recently playing at the Nike Hoop Summit? I thought I saw Barcelona didn't give him permission to go play there, but he did it anyways.
There's been some talk of that. I haven't.
So it's safe to say he probably isn't going back to FC Barcelona. That's off the table as an option.
I think they'd have him if he wanted to sign a contract. And as far as the talent goes, I can't say I have plugs into the Barcelona program or franchise, however you want to say it, by any means. But there have been some happenings there, and I haven't seen anything like officially reported. Maybe it was over there in Europe, but there was rumblings. I
thought I saw FC Barcelona released a statement.
Did they really?
Saying one of our athletes left for the Nike Hoop Summit despite us not granting him permission, something like that.
I guess that's better than Rodman going to Vegas, Carmen Electra, but Sarr going out West Coast over there in the United States. So
that'll be interesting, though, the fact you can watch that game Saturday night
to
see two guys that could potentially be wearing Illinois uniforms.
Absolutely. It has sounded like with Sarr that it will be most likely, the people that, in basketball circles that I've talked to have said most likely college or a full-fledged effort at the NBA if he shows out enough further that he wants to make that push. And maybe even as of right now, what he's shown, he would want to declare for the draft and go through the process. I could fully understand that and see where he lands on draft boards and what agents and really more so, I should say, scouts and front office executives are saying about him. But again, I think because of the established relationship with Sarr, because of the opportunity, assuming that Riley is going to stay in the draft, which is my assumption as of right now, it's not done, but I think that the opportunity is there for Sarr, the money is there for Sarr, the relationship is certainly there. As far as his agent is in the same, it's Wasserman, it's very prevalent in terms of high-level, high-profile European players, and same agency as KJ. KJ and Sarr played together in the Barcelona program, and those guys are close. And I think that KJ's experience at Illinois, by all indications, was very positive. So I think Sarr could come in and in a role similar to Riley, but also just seeing his buddy go to Illinois and help improve his NBA future. And I would land on that. Still got to gather more information as far as how big of a player Illinois is going to be with Ian Jackson. They do have the connection with Orlando Antigua having recruited him for a long time at Kentucky and whatnot, but St. John's is said to be a big player there. Arkansas could be a big player there. Again, Cal at Kentucky relationship. And I would probably, I don't know who I'd put in order of those, like Riley or Jackson at 2. Do you have any feel on that?
Both seem unlikely, right? Ultimately.
Yeah, more likely than not.
We talked about it yesterday. I still just have not really put the real thought of Will Riley coming back in my mind because I just would be so surprised. I've operated mentally since the season ended that he's just not a part of the picture. And if he ultimately is, awesome. I'll be pleasantly thrilled about it. I'd be shocked.
I'm pretty much with you as far as that goes. As I guess we can't take mock drafts, anyone in particular, even though Gavoni is as plugged in as he is, and Jeremy Woo with ESPN having him in the middle of the first round, that there are other opinions out there that aren't as high on him. But ultimately, I do put a lot of stock into Gavoni's draft projections as being a pretty good gauge of what's being said out there. We'll have to – I think some people have brought up an interesting point. I don't think Will's going to test great athletically, although then again, I don't think that's something that will be surprising to people. So it's not like I would imagine he drops because it's like, oh, wait, actually he's not a jump out of the gym athlete, or he's not – do they even do bench press? I guess they did it. You know, the Kevin Durant had an infamous one where he didn't bench 225, or maybe he did it once.
Can't you like opt out of some of these things if you don't want to? If you don't want to like lower your stock, that's what all these guys do anyway.
You can for sure. So what I'm getting to is I think it's a fair point from an athleticism standpoint. There are going to be some things that Riley isn't fantastic at, but I don't think teams and scouts are baking that into what they think of Will Riley to put him on the position that he is.
Yeah, I think that you know what you're seeing when you watch Will Riley play. He's not going to blow you away with athleticism, with quickness. It's more so just the offensive talent and his size. Still, I think if you're projecting him in the NBA, you realize he's never going to be a plus athlete, but you would feel like, I would think, as an NBA general manager, that with his size and his length, you could get serviceable defense, if not develop him into a solid defensive player in the league. Is he there yet? Probably not. But I think just with that size as a baseline, I think you feel like that's something that can develop over time. You already know what you have offensively from a talent standpoint. There's probably some things consistency-wise that need to get ironed out. But you're drafting Will Riley because he's a 6'8" playmaking wing with unbelievable shot-making upside. And the ability that, and we've already seen his game advance so much offensively from a decision-making standpoint, ball handling, like that's what you're drafting Will on. I don't think an NBA GM is going to move him down 18 spots on the board because he doesn't do well on the vertical shuffle or whatever, the whatever drill. I can't even think of what they do at the combine because he's a little slow on that. I feel like based on what we've seen, I know there have been, was it Vicini who had him 49th at one point? I feel like other than him, now he's great. Other than him, I've seen him consistently in the first round. So I'd be surprised if of all those teams from like 15 to 29 or 30, all of them pass on a 19-year-old with that offensive potential. I just can't see it happening.
Yep, and I think the thing with Vicini, if I have it right, it's his big board that he's 49th, which he's wrote as somebody that's paid a lot of attention, especially here recently because Illinois has had NBA-level talent. With his mock drafts, they're intel-based. They are a gauge based on what he's hearing in circles of where guys are supposed to go. His big board, I think, is his opinion largely of where he would rank those guys. He was higher on IO than a lot of people, obviously, not only in terms of the space of mock drafts and those that cover the NBA from that standpoint, because he had him, in the 20s, and obviously he ends up going in the second round. But I think his big board is his opinion. I haven't seen him with an updated mock here for a while. It'll be interesting to see where and when that ultimately comes out. But, yeah, I'm with you as far as Riley goes. And from what I've heard, which, again, when you talk to teams, I'm not talking to teams, but when you talk to people that have had communication with teams, you don't always get the guarantees, the clear cut and dry, like, hey, we will definitely take him at this spot, so you can, make decisions based on that. But I have heard that in the middle of the first round, there have been some teams based on communication with Illinois that, hey, like, we really like him. And if he's there, he is a very serious option for us. So I think that's something that they're aware of. They're not holding their breath on Will Riley as far as I understand it. I will say the last note, before we catch one more break, it has been encouraging, I think, from Illinois' side of things that Will Riley and his camp have been open to discussing what a second year at Illinois would look like. They haven't been just so, okay, we thank you for the opportunity at Illinois. Like, we see where we're at in the ESPN mock and we're out of here. Like, we don't even need to have this conversation. Like, there have been, they've been curious about what would the plan for development be? What would the NIL/rev share package look like, and all those type of things. So I think they like that is something that he hasn't fully shut the door on, and that he liked his time at Illinois enough to even think about a second year, or at least have it on the table. So I'm not trying to, give false hope to anybody or try to like hint, yeah, actually he is coming back. Like I've said it, I don't think he will. That's my opinion. But in terms of what I've heard, I do know that they like that those conversations have been had, and I'd imagine they will continue to be had as he gains more feedback and information.
Yeah, if you're Illinois, you can't operate at this time, especially now that the portal window, is there another week and a half left of it? Yeah. So it's really starting to wind down, although I'm sure there'll be plenty of names. You can't operate with Will Riley in mind right now. You got to build a roster assuming Will Riley's not back. If he makes the decision to come back, you sit down in a meeting room with Icon, get the money, and make it work. Like that's kind of how I feel like Illinois should be operating, and I imagine that is. That's why it'd be so great to just get a guy like Sarr locked in as soon as possible. I know it's all on his side to make that happen, but he'd just be perfect. He'd be kind of your Will Riley insurance plan, and like you said, he'd add a different element that this roster sorely needs. That 7-foot wingspan that I saw measured at the Hoop Summit, boy, that has me really excited, because that is the exact type of really long, rangy defender with a ton of athleticism and just a totally different profile than what you have on the Illinois roster. So correct me if I'm wrong on him. There's multiple FC Barcelona teams, right? There's like a main team and then a B team or something like that.
Yeah, they have an A team, and then him and KJ played on their U18 or U17 team. They had like a junior team that those guys competed together with. But yes, it's the A team that plays in the EuroLeague, and that's where he's been with.
And he's been on that team, playing pretty well, starting for him, right? Yes. And KJ didn't even do that.
Correct.
Okay. So I guess my last question to you on Sarr would be, and it's hard to answer this, but compared to what you just saw with KJ and Will in terms of freshman seasons, you can make the comparison to KJ in that they're coming from the same league, and technically what Sarr's ahead of where KJ was, at least in FC Barcelona's mind. That doesn't necessarily mean he's the better player, but I guess you could see that as, at this point in their careers, he's thought of higher than even KJ was by them. Maybe it's just different players there. And then obviously you can make the comparison to Will in terms of role that he would be on at Illinois. So if you had to project what a freshman season for Dame Sarr could look like, how would it compare to those two?
It's a good question. I think that he isn't expected to be as prolific of a scorer probably as either one of those guys.
Okay.
At least in who Will Riley was late in the year, KJ especially the first half of the season in terms of shot making. I think he's expected to be a guy that might be, and not to say that he can't come in and based on what he's been doing recently, I think that maybe recalibrates some of what you'd expect in terms of offensive impact, but maybe some inconsistency in terms of offense. But it is, I think, probably, and that's tied most to how is he going to shoot it. He's been a inconsistent up and down 3-point shooter at different points based on different tournaments or that he's played in. FIBA, he's played in like the Euros. I don't think he shot it in the U18 Euros. I don't think he shot it all that well. But then in another instance, he's been better and it's been decent, although it's not a huge sample size with Barcelona this year. I'd have to pull up the numbers, but I think he's in the 36% from three, which is good ultimately on what you see. Something that probably won't stick out on the stat sheet, expected to be a much better defender than both those guys in a big way, really, because of the athleticism, because of what he's shown already in terms of prowess at that end of the court. I mean, he's guarding Barcelona likes part of earning a role for them, from what I'd heard, especially in the Illinois circle, is that his defense really got him on the court, and in that instance and gave him opportunities because he was really guarding people well. And so I think that's something that he can do very much in his first year right off the bat for Illinois. And in terms of a stat profile, I don't know exactly what it's going to be. I expect him to be a double-digit scorer. I would expect him to be a guy that can be at least a secondary playmaker, somebody that can hand out some assists, that can be active, again, defensively, and thought to be one of your more talented, even maybe arguably your most talented player overall. But I think it's something that you always wonder about freshmen translating. Sometimes guys have a lot of ability and come in and don't have as many speed bumps as you'd expect, or they do early and then they figure it out, similar to what Will did. And then other guys, maybe hit a wall late or just don't figure out as much as you would have anticipated. That's hard to predict, but he does have a very good track record of who he's played against, how much he's been in the spotlight, and playing in the EuroLeague is no joke. That's one of the top leagues in the world. So,
and I could be totally off in terms of comparing where KJ was last year because different players cycle through the EuroLeague, right? And it's just different situations every year. But my point just was it's interesting to see that Dame Sarr has been starting and contributing for that main FC Barcelona team when we saw how good KJ was coming right to college, and he couldn't even do that. So maybe that tells you that this guy really is ready to play in college. In terms of like the stat comparison, that's such a tough question to even ask you just because they are such different players. Like you're not expecting Sarr to come in average 15, 5, and 5 like KJ did. That's not what he's going to do.
Right.
However, could he be a lot more impactful defensively and do some different things than KJ did? Maybe he only averages 11 and 5, but the impact is similar in terms of what he does right away, or maybe even slightly more in certain aspects. I guess that could be the case, but it's interesting to see how much Sarr is already impacting over there compared to a guy we just saw come from the same place, and he was pretty darn awesome for Illinois for most of the season. So that excites you about what Sarr could do.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. And I think it does speak to just his athletic profile, which is something Illinois needs. We've talked about, man, that perimeter better be pretty athletic, be pretty dialed in on the defensive side, but also there's a lot to like about the opportunities that will be presented to them in the offense because of the challenge that Tommy and Big Z and Mirkovic can present to opponents. So, yes, I'm excited to watch Dame Sarr on Saturday night, as I think a lot of Illini fans should be if you can get that. I believe, I'll double check, but I believe it's Peacock on Saturday night. All right, we're due for a break. Before we do that, let me do a little bit of work. Tell you about Busey. It is America Saves Week, widely recognized as a national campaign where thousands of organizations join together to collectively encourage their communities to focus on their individual financial wellness. Celebrate with these tips from Busey. Save automatically. The easiest way to save, do so automatically. Have a portion of every paycheck deposited automatically into your savings account. By doing that, you have increased your chance for success. Save for the unexpected. This past year has taught us that we have to be prepared as possible for the unexpected, whether that's a car breakdown, dental bill, or even a last-minute fun retreat. Should be a top priority so you can get that done. Save for retirement. Save by reducing debt. It's time to recognize that by paying down debt, Americans are saving, and you want to save as a family. How much better would Americans be with their money if we were intentional about teaching good money and savings habits at a young age? Go to Busey.com/financial pathways for more information there. Invest in your financial future. Again, visit Busey.com or one of their many convenient locations. Busey, member FDIC.
From computer systems to brakes and tires too, at PDR, fixing cars is what they do. Remember, when you turn the key and the car won't run, call 367-9481 or use their dedicated text-only line at 383-0619. Additional information including repair quotes and online scheduling requests available from the website at pdrauto.com. Remember, they are what's best for your truck or car. They are PDR.
Drive in, drive out. Recycling's what Max is all about. You can make some cash and do your share. We make it really simple because we care. It doesn't matter large or small. Our friendly staff will handle it all. Starting it over is what we do at Max Twin City Recycling.
Tim Culver, owner and president of Classic Plumbing and Air.
A plumber is a person that is well-rounded. They have education, they have experience, and they are versed in more than only one phase of plumbing. A plumber is someone that has experience in all three phases, and they understand how all three of these plumbing aspects work together as well.
Was in the heating and air conditioning business for approximately 30 years and then retired in 2021. So I came out of retirement because I'm very big on taking care of our local community. The most satisfying part of my job is when I know that I've done the right thing for the customer, taking care of the customer's happy, and when I walk out the door that I'm not afraid to put a sign out in front of their house that says, "This job was done by Chuck Thompson, Classic Plumbing and Air."
Visit them at classicplum.com.
Everyone deserves a second chance, right? Well, so does that awesome chair someone tossed. 2 Men and a Junk Truck believes in second chances. That's why the Second Chance Garage Sale is happening April 12th, rescuing fantastic items from the landfill and giving them a lease on new life, maybe with you. From 8 a.m. to noon at the 2 Men and a Junk Truck office at 701 West Bradley Avenue in Champaign, Saturday, April 12th. Find details, do good. Visit 2menandajuncktruck.com.
Take charge of the years ahead with a smart, sound investment strategy and business succession plan. Busey Bank's business and wealth management experts help you envision your best future with powerful insights and proven strategies. Building business and growing wealth since 1868, Busey Bank, proud to be the official bank of the Fighting Illini. Member FDIC.
Sarah Champagne Managing Partner Ben Quattrone on why integrity is important at Sarah.
We hire the person. The person makes the deal. The person makes the department. The person makes everyone around them treat people with courtesy and respect. If you have a quality human being, you can play any position, right? We're talking about sports. They can perform in any department, and I could teach someone a job, but I can't teach them to be a good person.
Learn more at sarahchampagne.com. That's SERRA champagne.com.
Fighting Illini fans, your Illinois football team is coming off a 10-win season as Citrus Bowl champs. This fall, Illinois returns 18 starters from the Citrus Bowl victory, including star quarterback Luke Altmaier for a third straight season. Led by head coach Brett Bielema, the Fighting Illini are listed on nearly every major top 25 ranking for the 2025 season. Stay up to date on all things Fighting Illini football at fightingillini.com. We can't wait to see you back in Memorial Stadium this fall.
Back on the Drive with Sam Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. Wanted to go through the top transfers currently out there. Some committed, but 24/7 Sports has their transfer portal rankings, which will continue to be updated as we go along. Jameer Watkins, a very notable entry today, a guy that was in the NBA, or he was declared for the NBA draft going through the process last year. Ultimately didn't stay in, goes back to Florida State. But 6'7", uber athlete, is an older guy because he played during the COVID year, 2020, 2021. Ended up having a red shirt after that. I'm guessing injury as far as that goes. So has one more year of eligibility, is in the portal, will try the draft process again, but somebody that could get major money back in college basketball. 18.5 points a game this last year. Yes, on a bad Florida State team, but 6 rebounds, 2.5 assists. He's a very versatile player and, again, just a top-notch athlete that Illinois had interest in the last time that he was available. That would have been last offseason. Ultimately goes back to Florida State. We'll see where that goes. But he'll be getting a big chunk of change from somebody. I don't know, $3 million. Is that going to be what it takes? I'm not sure.
Some of these dollar figures being thrown around. If you're Illinois, you better have a lot of cash sitting around for somebody. If you want that star level player, you better have a boatload of money sitting in your pockets to make that happen. With JT Toppin gets $4 million from Texas Tech, according to, I think Mac Norlander reported that. Like, my goodness, he's awesome, but $4 million.
Apparently, Texas Tech is one of the programs absolutely rolling in it. They were said even going into the offseason, there was some rumblings out there that they'd have an NIL. This isn't even revenue sharing. An NIL $10+ million for their team, which is nuts.
Wow.
Nuts. And there are obviously other teams that are very much like a BYU in a strong position to throw money on that end.
Does BYU just have infinite money? It's like $10 million, no problem. $7 million for DeBonsta, no problem. Here's $27 million for your roster if you want it.
I mean, it seems that way. I know both the Jazz owner, who I can't remember his name, but Danny Ainge, the GM, are BYU alums. Danny played at BYU, and those two guys, and I'm sure they're not alone, but have really been active in trying to just throw a big shot in the arm of money as far as that goes. And I think the owner in particular, that had been talk of, like, he just said, let me know what you need and I'll try to get it to you.
What was the reported figure for DeBonsta? Was it 7.3 or something like that?
Sounds right.
Unbelievable. Now, he's insane, but 7.3, and now they have crystal balls for this Rob Wright from Baylor. I imagine he's not going to be cheap as a former close to 5-star, if not 5-star point guard who was really good for Baylor this past year. They did lose, Yegor Demin to the draft, but I'm sure a handful of guys from that team. I wonder, was Richie Saunders a senior? He was spectacular in the tournament.
Really good.
If he's coming back, he's going to make quite a bit of money. Like, you got DeBonsta, but then you're also building a team around him that's not going to be satisfied settling for $200,000.
Saunders was a junior.
Yeah, so if he's back, plus Wright, plus DeBonsta, plus I'm sure one of those big guys they had, Keita, probably
he was
back.
a junior.
And then they
did lose Cannon Catchings. Nice little now you see me, now you don't with him.
Matt Painter probably won that one, huh?
I guess so.
Yeah, did he do anything for them? I didn't even see him on the court when BYU was in the tournament.
I don't think he played a whole lot. Yeah, I mean, he only played 9 minutes in 3 tournament games.
I can't. Yeah, BYU, of all the teams in the country to have unlimited pockets, it's not Kansas, it's not Duke, although their pockets are probably pretty deep. It's BYU that's throwing out $7 million for the top recruit in the country. Just crazy.
It's nuts. And let's save the rankings maybe for the end of the show. On this note of throwing money around, I want to again bring up the idea that the settlement and the timing of that is going to be very important. It sounds like it's going to be in reading up on it, there was a story on ESPN within the last day or so that the judge gave a week essentially to come back, those that, the parties involved, with a proposal on how to clean up some of the disputes there that were addressed on Monday. So it might be a week then to see if there's a ruling at that point in time. Does it go beyond that? I'm not sure, but that does present an opportunity for Illinois and other programs out there that have NIL money to use or can go back to their money bases and say, hey, we got this opportunity to land this player. That's where I think like the timing with Ian Jackson is really interesting. And while Illinois could obviously still be in the mix for Dame Sarr, what's their gauge on would Ian Jackson and Dame Sarr play together? What's their gauge on can you get Dame on board on an earlier rather than later basis in terms of, can you use your NIL as far as that goes? Or is he going to be a later decision that maybe has to be rev share? I think obviously Will Riley's return, that would be something later in the cycle. That would be a rev share deal ultimately. And just also you hear at this point names that could go in, that are they going to go in or not? Like there's a week and a half, like you said, left to really make that call. But it puts the Stavs in an interesting position of how all in to go on a certain guy versus waiting for somebody else to go in the portal or waiting for like a Adame Sarr. I think Jackson in particular probably it's pretty simple. He's really good. He is a big position of need. You need guards. Could really use an athletic driver and explosive athlete. So maybe it's simple. Like we're just going to go all out for him. But I think like the timing of his decision, how much NIL you can throw at him, and same goes for other programs, that could get kind of tied in together.
So I have a question about the NIL rev share thing. Given that the settlement hasn't officially passed yet, all the guys that have committed to this point in the transfer portal, or even in high school really, or even guys returning, anybody who's either said I'm back or committed to a program, is that all NIL money from everybody, or are there some that probably have revenue sharing deals of some type laid out that would go into effect once the settlement passes? Is it just everybody's getting rid of their NIL money now and they'll deal with rev share later, or are there guys that are probably signing either a mix of both, or there's revenue sharing agreements with the understanding that this is going to pass at some point soon and then we'll start to pay that out?
That's a great question. I've asked on that. I think with rev share not being green lighted yet because the settlement hasn't gone into effect, I don't know what certain agreements can be made. I mean, surely you could obviously have verbal agreements. I don't know what could be signed or if they are signing it elsewhere. From Illinois' standpoint, on the basketball side, it sounds like all of this on the front end is NIL. And I think that's been wanted to keep that rev share untouched, but also I don't know that you can do that. Although I will say there was a Wisconsin football player. I've referenced this before, and I could pull up the article. And maybe it was just you kind of get caught in some of the language of the reporting, but maybe it just is the way that Wisconsin does it. There was a football player at Wisconsin who was reported to have signed a rev share deal, but then wanted out of it so he could go to Miami. And there was kind of a dispute between the two sides. So maybe he did sign one there that is, the language in the contract could say once this goes into effect, you'll be you'll be in line for this. In football, you would imagine, that's earlier in the cycle. I could see how football would want to address, all right, we're about to get a huge chunk of rev share. Like, I think that on average, a lot of Power 5 football programs expect to have like $14 million in their possession to dole out, starting on July 1st or whatever it is, that those chunks of the pie would probably be negotiated and set, spoken for as far as that goes. So I don't have the right answer or the exact answer, but from the basketball standpoint with Illinois, it sounds like this front end has been NIL, and then rev share will be tapped into, especially after the settlement goes into effect.
And there's nothing in rev share that stipulates that you have to give a slice of the pie to everybody, right? In terms of if you're giving $4 million to basketball, everybody's got to get something of that. You can, if you're Illinois, you can say, all right, Kylan Boswell's making $1 million for us next year, but it's all NIL. Will Riley's going to make $3 million for us next year. It's all rev share, while Kylan gets zero rev share money. His is all NIL. Riley's is all rev share. You can do that, right? Is that how a lot of teams are going to approach it?
Yes. My understanding, number one, Title IX, as of right now, does not come into play. So you could
just choose whoever you want to share the revenue with, and it doesn't have to make any sense.
You can give it to whoever you want. And I think the way that it does make sense is give it to the programs that turn a profit, right?
On that part, it makes sense. I'm saying for individual players, giving it to the basketball program, which is definitely fair to do.
Yes.
It doesn't have to make sense in terms of okay, we're breaking down our roster in terms of who's the most valuable and then split. You could just give a chunk to somebody and none to someone else.
Yes.
Okay. That's what I thought. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out.
Someone could theoretically, as far as I understand it, $20.5 million is now the number out there. I don't know. It was $22 million. Now it's $20.5 million. Could you, if you really wanted to, say, hey, we're going to pay one player on our football. We're going to give our quarterback $20.5 million and nobody else. Good luck with that locker room, by the way. But theoretically, yes, you could do that.
So they've established a third party that's going to judge all NIL deals to say whether those are going to be fair market value or not. But they didn't establish anybody that's going to judge if you should be giving $20 million to somebody from revenue sharing, because that's the value they're providing to the athletic department.
Correct.
And they expect the former to stand up in any lawsuit.
Yes, they do. The
Yeah,
NIL is supposed to be, it's supposed to be endorsement, again, like as we talked about, and it is in the name, like the name, image, likeness, using your likeness for profit. The rev share is on the athletic department to have the discretion of, it doesn't have to be, they're not constrained. It's their money. They have to share it with
guess that makes sense.
Athletes. Doesn't say how many athletes, doesn't say from what sports. They just they have that to spend. And it's not even like you have to spend this money. You can spend up to $20.5 million. So we'll see how that goes. It's going to be very interesting. But, yeah, I mean, no one's going to do it on one player because that will just create a boatload of problems. But I think that
theoretically you could. And
theoretically, I think
be no pushback from anybody.
Correct. All right. One more break. We'll go through the 24/7 Sports Transfer Portal rankings when we return. What are the top 10 players as far as those that have hit the portal in college basketball? Let you know next. It is The Drive.
Mom, she won't stop touching me. Broccoli stinks.
Guys, no phones at the table.
Family dinner time? Not easy. But you know what is easy? OSF On-Call Urgent Care. When you need convenient, affordable care for minor illnesses and injuries, you need OSF On-Call Urgent Care. Be seen in person or connect 24/7 online when and where you need it. Learn more at osfoncall.org/urgentcare.
At Carpet Weavers Flooring and Furniture Gallery, we're flooring people with amazing service, great design advice, and unbeatable selection and the best prices in town. It's the perfect time to update your home with waterproof flooring, carpet, hardwood, tile, and more. Then complete your rooms by shopping our incredible selection of furniture and accessories. We also offer great financing options. Carpet Weavers Flooring and Furniture Gallery, we're flooring people.
Now at Jets, order any 3-topping pizza and get $5 off. Just use promo code 3TOP when ordering. That's the number 3, TOP. Want to impress family and friends and spend less? Get creative and build your own 3-topping pizza with their favorites for your holiday gatherings. Available in deep dish, thin crust, New York style, or hand toss round. Any 3-topping Jets pizza for $5 off with promo code 3TOP. It's a deal. Jets, better because it has to be.
You've changed thousands of diapers, played hours of peekaboo and duck, duck, goose because you do anything for your kids. That's why it's so important to protect them with life insurance from State Farm. State Farm agent Kurt Lenschow will help make it easy and affordable to help you protect your family no matter what the future holds. Because for the people you do anything for, life insurance could mean everything. Call State Farm agent Kurt Lenschow in Champaign-Urbana today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
When you're buying a battery, it's important to look beyond just the price and make sure you're buying a quality battery. So when you're buying one from the big box store, make sure you ask the question, what's the date on this battery? Is it dependable? Sometimes the big box stores have batteries that have been sitting on the shelf for years. Or you can just come to Interstate Batteries, outrageously dependable, and buy your battery from the people who only do batteries. Interstate Batteries at 2504 North Madison, Champaign. Way out there, but totally worth the drive. How much is dependable worth to you? Interstate Batteries open 6 days a week.
Attention all truck drivers looking for a new opportunity with great pay and amazing benefits? Gale Frericks Trucking has got you covered. Join their team, receive a $4,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $4,000 just for coming on board. Plus, enjoy a $1,200 gross weekly pay guarantee. Drive their state-of-the-art Freightliner Cascadia trucks equipped with a revolutionary system designed to reduce weight and downtime. Get home every weekend and some nights during the week with paid vacations and holidays. They offer company-sponsored health insurance and all the benefits you deserve. Regional drivers get first priority. Don't wait. Apply in person at Dedicated Diesel, 1313 Triumph Drive, Urbana, or call Tim at 765-505-1295. That's 765-505-1295. Start your journey today with Gale Frericks Trucking.
What is most important in your life? This is Starla Carr with Provident Financial Group. If you're launching a career, raising a family, planning for retirement, or creating a legacy, we can help. At Provident, we provide strategic thinking and perspective that help clients realize their goals. Contact us today at 217-366-3456 or find us online at providentfinancialgroupllc.com.
Securities and advisory services offered through Commonwealth Financial Network. Member FINRA SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
Preventative care is a key factor in maintaining your overall health. Don't delay your health care. If you haven't already scheduled your annual wellness checkup and any recommended screenings and immunizations, do it today. Christie Clinic primary care physicians have same-day appointments available. Talk to a Christie Clinic physician about important screenings and immunizations. You don't want to delay. Make an appointment today at ChristieClinic.com and click on online scheduling. Take care of yourself and put your health first.
Race weekend, April 24th through the 26th. Illinois Marathon.com.
Finishing up on the drive with Sam Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. Who are the top names in the transfer portal as we speak right now? This hasn't been updated since Jameer Watkins went in earlier today. I would imagine he will easily be a top 10, if not a top 5 guy on that board. But let's see what 24/7 Sports says regarding the top 10 guys to go in the portal. It looks like of that group, 6 of the 10 are already committed to a program, so 4 are still available. Yaxel Lendenborg is at the very top of the list, transfer from South Florida, who is going to Michigan if he decides to pull his name out of the NBA draft. Ultimately,
we need like one team in the early 20s of the draft to be like the decider between Will Riley and Yaxel Lendenborg and make a guarantee to Lendenborg and say, sorry, Will, we're going to, if Yaxel's there, we'll take him. And that just changes the entire Big Ten. Yaxel to the draft, Riley back to Illinois.
That would be fun. It would be fun. I thought in my head, I wonder if Illini fans, it wouldn't be worth the ending up payoff or what you'd have to go against. But if Yaxel goes back to Michigan, Michigan also is rumored to be the favorite for Ade Mara.
Oh boy, Merez.
Yeah.
Merez Johnson.
The huge 7'3" guy from UCLA. Would Merez be regretting his decision?
I thought Merez was going to be the do-it-all front court guy, handling the ball, running offense through him, and you're telling me he might be a bench lob threat running dunker on that team? Huh.
Don't know. Now, Mara did come off the bench at UCLA, so that's not to say that he wouldn't be the
Merez
guy
is
that
a
would
better player than him, I think.
Would end up being the bench piece, but would be interesting, certainly, if Lendenborg goes to Michigan, although I think everybody in the Big Ten would agree, yeah, you just stick in the draft, buddy. Speaking of the Big Ten, Bennett Sturtz from Drake to Iowa following Ben McCollum. He's number 2 on this rankings. He's already spoken for, obviously. RJ Louise is not, though. St. John's transfer had a brutal game there to finish the NCAA tournament, but he was the Big East Player of the Year, very talented. I believe he is from Miami, though, and there are those wondering a return to the state of Florida at least, whether it be Miami or Florida, but have not seen him make an announcement quite yet. Donovan Dent is number 4, New Mexico transfer, who's already landed with UCLA, and that's been reported as a big money deal into the $3 million range for him. And he'll be in that backcourt Wonder how Sky Clark feels about that.
If you're Sky at this point, you can't think you're the man, right?
Yeah, I
like,
wouldn't
come on
imagine
now.
so. Wouldn't imagine so. He's actually going to stick at a place for a second year, huh?
Isn't that insane? And it's with Mick Cronin of all coaches is who he chooses to spend his second straight year with. That's crazy.
I guess he's still got another week and a half to change his mind. Adrian Woolley, transfer from Kennesaw State, is going to Louisville. Louisville, another program that is widely known as a big money in the NIL market type of team. So they're in there at with a number 5 player. Jaden Quaintance is going from Arizona State to Kentucky. Tore his ACL this past year. Not even old enough to be eligible for the draft. He reclassed, I think, at 16 to Arizona State, and is very talented. Number 7, Ian Jackson, as we've been talking about, the athletic, explosive guard from North Carolina. Darian Williams was a really interesting one, Kyle, from Elite 8 Texas Tech team.
He's a beast.
Big-bodied wing that can do a lot of different things, shoot the 3 ball, can bully you around the basket. He's in the portal. Would imagine he'll be a huge addition for somebody.
You have to think Texas Tech is doing everything they can to just get him back, right? If they got $4 million to give to JT Toppin.
Yeah, no doubt. Rob Wright from Baylor to, although not officially yet, to BYU, but that is where the smoke is pointing as of right now. And the last one, familiar with him, he will not be playing against the Illini next year, at least not in the Big Ten. Jacoby Gillespie, Maryland to Tennessee.
I do see maybe they just added it in the last 5 minutes since you've refreshed the